All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to SnapEd Training Transition. Today, we're having Jill Ferrett here with the Worksource in Washington and how they can help us and how to access it with Jill. So take it away, Jill. Thank you.
Thank you again, Maddie. Welcome, everyone. And yes, we are here to talk about Worksource. So I was just going to introduce a little bit about Worksource, what that is first, a little bit of the resources they have, and then we'll hop on over to the website and just walk through a couple of things. I've also found a few tips and tricks as I've been digging around that are helpful for researching workshops. So we'll take a look at that also. If you're not familiar with Worksource, Worksource is a collaboration of organizations. So there's no particular entity of Worksource. Um, Throughout the state, they have statewide trainings, statewide resources, but then locally you'll find that Worksource locations may be run by different organizations with different names. You should be able to find, if you're going to the main site, there is a map that will guide you to your local work source location. And you don't have to live in any particular county to use any other county's resources. So if another county is doing something that's online and that you want to attend that, there's no reason that you couldn't access those resources as well as someone who lives somewhere else. So in general, though, the types of there's two arms of WorkSource. There is also a like workforce training program, which helps organizations reach out to people who are looking for work, or I know that they've provided some of the support for the state as a lot of people are facing layoffs. So they're the ones who, if you've attended the training, I believe Acacia sent that out maybe a month ago. If you were able to attend that for state workers, it had some of our benefit information, how to apply for unemployment, those types of resources. They also they're the ones who put that together. So we have a good connection with WorkSource on this partnership of their interacting with employers as well as people looking for work. I think that's all for now. Mhm. There we go. I think we already walked through our agenda today. And there'll be some time at the end for questions also. So the work source, how can they help? Biggest thing I see, job hunting. They have a website. It's driven, they've partnered with Monster. So you can do all the things that you may be able to do on places like Indeed, where you can upload your resume, you can search directly for listings, you create an account through them in order to access all of that, and it's a SAW account. So if you've applied for any other state benefits before, you should already have a SAW access account. Or if you're going to be applying for employment, like unemployment state benefits, you'll also have a SAW account through that. So you can sign in under that and you can do a lot of those types of things on the site. I haven't dug through any of the listings because our CTW team, our team has done a really wonderful job of pulling together ideas and things for us. So shout out. But I've been looking through that, but I haven't done a thorough search of that, but it looks pretty extensive. So they do have a lot of places interacting on that website. So another place to go. They also host all kinds of trainings and workshops and from all varieties. I've noticed just even basic internet skills to navigating uh, Indeed, or I'm not thinking of the right word for um I always I always do that with the word recall. Um Resume writing, like interview skills, even just the types of stuff where it's sort of like Now what if you have to change careers? What, how do you navigate that, and how do you figure out what your skills are and what types of things you want to do? So it's a good option to plug into some of those workshops. And the added benefit of some of the workshops is that if you are on unemployment, you can use some of those workshops as a job search requirement. So if you attend workshops, and I'll show you on the list of workshops at the bottom, it asks if this will qualify. And if it's yes, then you can use that on your job search options. There's also all sorts of different career tools on there, even just looking at, I don't know if this applies as much to us, but just looking at the labor market, things like that. So they have all of that on the website. Um, they do specific worker retraining programs for those in industries that have been sort of displaced. So you can tap into some of those programs if needed. There are also some continuing education options that they may have to offer. I believe most of those are more in the vocational realm, maybe not as appropriate for us in our line of work. But I do know that there's a possibility that there may be some higher education opportunities, or at least the opportunity to extend your unemployment benefits while you're returning to school. But those are questions that you have that that's an option I'm looking into. So I know that those are, you'll have to connect directly with your work source location to see what might fully be available in that realm, but it's an area to look into. And then just general other stuff. They do have apprenticeships, other types of like local job boards, and just sort of other little miscellaneous things that you might check out when you're on there. And then I included this just so that it's on the slide, so that if these slides go out, if you want to access them like later, I am not going to go through all of this, but at that training that I mentioned earlier that the workforce had put on for state employees, they sent out some links for things such as the unemployment insurance and career bridge programs, etc. So I just included that here. So if anyone wants easier access to that, this is one place you can get that. And that is all I have for my slides. We'll hop on over to the website, but maybe I'll pause for a second if anyone has questions or thoughts before we do that.
So Jill, I had just talked to somebody at Worksource about the retraining programs that they have available. And they said, yes, they do, but it's has to be in a field where there is high demand for those kind of jobs. So just something to think about.
That sounds very accurate. So
I have a question. You were saying about high demand. Will they give you a list of like what's high demand at the moment? They
Yes, they
will.
have that available.
Oh, okay. My second question is for WorkSource, is there like in-person locations or do you just find someone online and chat with them?
yeah, there's locations in most areas, and I'll go to the map in a few minutes here, and
Oh,
we can find see where you can locate those. I know, for
thank you.
example, yeah, in my area here in Snohomish and Skagit areas, there's like 4 or 5 locations in between, but I don't know that they'll be as numerous throughout the state. But you can go in person and ask for assistance also. All right. Well, let me navigate over to the website. And if anyone has any questions, this is casual for me here. So if you feel free to interrupt me or ask me to slow down and go back to another page. But I think I'm just going to try to walk through some of the highlights of the website. I find this website to actually be pretty user friendly. So I am going to try to escape from this and over to, sorry, my bar is blocked here. All right, I'm gonna stop share for a second because I'm not getting able to click on what I need. There, that should work. All right, everyone's seeing the website now? Okay. Let me know if it's not tracking what I go to because I didn't click on the screen function because I wasn't able to get to what I needed to. So if it doesn't work, give me a holler. But this is the main webpage for Worksource. So I did leave it's worksourcewa.com. I did also put that on the slide. So if anyone needs a direct contact, but if you search Worksource, it's comes up very easily. This is the page where if you are a job seeker, you can click up here. It'll ask you to enter your SAW account information to sign in. So once you've set that up, you can use those tools. I haven't done that yet, so I can't show that on the screen at the moment. The resumes, cover letters, all of that is saved under this main tab. When you go to career tools, the very first option is the workshops and hiring events. And this is where I've learned to navigate a little bit better as I've messed around with this because if you leave it on the statewide all virtual events, you're bombarded with a lot of information, as you can see. And I've noticed that the best way to still keep that statewide options for online workshops and get like narrowed into what's available near you is to actually click on the workshops tab instead of all county or all. And it is tracking, correct? Everyone's seeing the okay, just making sure. You can go down, once you click on workshops, it gives you this option to look at everything by your region. And when you click on that region, like I'll just click on Snohomish because that's where I'm at, it will also give you the statewide, like this first one here is a statewide workshop. So if you click on your county, it's going to give you all the options that you have, not just what's physically in your county. So that's, I thought was wonderful. So you can narrow it down without eliminating the ability to see what's open. And then also along the left-hand side, you can click stuff off. Like if you're not interested in going to a hiring event or a job club, there's a lot of things that you can just uncheck. So then you're not looking at a bunch of information all at once. And oh, Chris, you have a question. I may not see everyone with questions, so.
Sure. So are all of these approved courses to take that count towards a contact?
No, they're not. So these are just the full list. I'll click on one of these here because I think this one is likely to be a yes. So when you click on the individual workshop, you'll get the whole description and how to sign up. But if you scroll to the very bottom, it asks approved unemployment insurance job search. And so this one is. So it says yes. And if it's not, it'll have a no on there. So you want to make sure to check that if you're hoping to use that as an option. I don't know. Anyone else? And I'll scroll through real quick. If anyone has questions before I move to the next. Don't see anyone. So I'm just gonna back up here, back to our main page. This is down below. I'm not going to click through any of these. These are some of those extra things that I've been talking about as far as like labor market information, ideas for occupations, even a budgeting tool for figuring out how much money you need to make in your job to live off of. This next resources has some of the job boards. This is where you're going to access more specific programs if you're trying to look into retraining, if you want to get advice, career advice, and this is the part that has the locator for where the offices are. And they have this nice map that you can click wherever you want. I think we can look, we look over, I'll go to the east side here. So they have Worksource Center in Spokane. They also have affiliate locations. Um, these locations below are just locations that may have some resources, but they're not necessarily a Worksource location. So they may have a class there, or they may have somebody who's in charge of one of the programs, but they're not necessarily where you would go as a first stop in your region. This one has all services available, most services available. So that's how you might be able to navigate to your closest location. Pretty straightforward. So I appreciate that. Easy, easy peasy. Um, Spotlights, I don't believe there's anything really important to look through. And then here you can directly find contact information. And I think that's it. I don't know if anyone has any other questions. Anything else that we can pull up and look at together, I'm happy to go through, but otherwise that's pretty much what I have for us. We'll leave it up for a second in case anyone wants to look at something else. All right, I will stop share. Okay, I will say I think the slides will go out probably with the announcement, and the recordings available there. Otherwise, thank you all for being here today and taking a look at this stuff. I appreciate you all.